Welcome everybody. It's CBSI Tales from the Flip Side. This is a mini video. This is from Ben S. And I am writer of the Hot 10, Ghost Hunting for CBSI, comicbookinvest.com. Today I'm going to be bringing you a haul video. Normally on our show on Monday nights we do pickups. This week just happened to be such a great week for me. I decided just to make a specific video so I don't bog the show down. And so here it goes. I'm going to start off with a few that I got here just through the mail. This one came in from the owner of CBSI, Ben C. And it's an Amazing Spider-Man #1, the Lucio Perillo homage to Web of Spider-Man #1. Like that. Thanks, Ben. I usually stay away from store variants, but I like these so much that I went ahead and got the set of the Assessa, the Mike Choi. This is from Stranger Comics. It's she's the villain for Niobe, and but the Mike Choi variants here were just so awesome. I just had to pick them up. Alright, so the rest of these books I got in at a local store on Wednesday and Thursday. I had to go twice because I ran out of money the first time and had to come back the second day to pick up more. So some of them are variants, but here we go. Alright, first up I got X-Men Second Coming. This is the David Finch 1 in 50 variant. It's got Hope right there on the cover. And it's a pretty cool book. You don't see it very often, so hoping that at some point she'll be used. Alright, next up we got a really hard to find Transformers #1. This is an Optimus Prime changed into a truck variant. I'm not a huge Transformers comic collector, but I know that there are some, and some of the variants go for absolutely nothing, and some go for really good money. This one's one of the good ones, so I was happy to get this one. All right, next up, we got an Ultimate X #1. This is the Steel Claw variant, the 1 in 50. This is the first appearance of Jimmy Hudson. This book got hot a while back because he's the son of Wolverine, but it's cooled since then. But it's still pretty hard book to find for the Steel Claw. So for the price I got it at, I went ahead and got it, and I'll just hold on to it. All right, next up, another hard one to find: Vengeance of Moon Knight #7. This is the Adi Granov variant. I think this might be the first one of these I've ever found, but pretty happy with this one. I know a lot of Granov collectors like this one. I'm trying to go through these quick because there's a bunch of them, and I don't want to waste everybody's time. But next up, I got a Spider-Girl #1. This is I think it's a 1 in 10 or 1 in 15 Del Mundo variant. This is Anya Corazon, her series. So I'm hoping that at some point they'll use her. Maybe in the Spider-Verse or something like that. I think that one's pretty underrated, to be honest. Next up, I picked up a Batman and Robin #15. This is a 1 in 25. I cannot remember who the artist on this is. It might be, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a Joker variant that kind of looks like Batman Who Laughs type stuff, so I think that's probably why this one's picked up in Steam somewhat. It's probably about a $30 book or so right now, but this is the first one of these I've ever seen too. Alright, next up, it's kind of an oddball one. This is Chucky #1. This is the black and white incentive variant. I'm not sure what the ratio on this was, but I know it's not very common to find these ratios on some of these Devil's Due comics from the late 2010. This one's for 2007, So I'm not sure exactly how hard it is to find, but I know you don't see them very often. And there's a new Chucky movie coming out, so I went ahead and picked it up. All right, next up, Vengeance of Moon Knight #1. This is the second print, the black and white Finch variant. Again, it's not one you find very often. Finch, when Finch's work is on point, it's awesome looking, and this cover is pretty sweet looking. Next, I got actually picked this one up for fellow FlipSide member John Z, because his boy likes shark covers, and this is Deadpool #15. This is the second print variant. It's got Deadpool in the water with a bunch of sharks. These Deadpool this is the second series. These second prints are not that easy to find, and they're definitely not easy to find in high grade. So, but anyways, I picked this one up for John Z for his boy. All right, next up, got a Miss Marvel #1. This is the Michael Turner sketch variant. I've actually never owned the color or the sketch variant of this book, so I was pretty happy to find this one. This one's a pretty good looking Miss Marvel variant. Next up, a Painkiller Jane #1. This is a Adam Hughes variant. I think this was a 1 in 10. Again, another one you just don't see that often. This one is kind of cool because it looks like it's done pretty much all in marker, so it kind of has that feel of actually being a sketch that he would have done at a show. So that's kind of cool, but again, one you don't see very often. Right, next up, another second print, Black Widow #1. Nothing really special about this, just happens to be a second print variant. I think a lot of these I like the second print variant, so I just go ahead and, if they're cheap enough, I just go ahead and buy them because you just don't see them that often. Another second print variant, Legion of Superheroes #1. This is Jim Lee. This is the Saturn Girl, that's it, not Star Girl. So again, Jim Lee sketch, I think is always a plus. All right, next, picked up Spawn #194. Pretty much anything Spawn 160 to 250, and pretty much any of those. Some of them are only still $5-6 books, but most of them have increased a lot. So if I find any of these, for less than $10, $5-6, I'll just pretty much just buy them all just to have. Next up, Vengeance of Moon Knight. A lot of Vengeance of Moon Knight variants here. #2. This is the Matina variant. This is pretty sweet looking. I've seen this, other people pick this up before. This is the first one of these I've seen. Like the variant. It's actually probably a $30-$35 book, so pretty good pickup. Pretty good pickup there. Next up, Dr. Voodoo #1. I think this is a 1 in 25 variant, but I'm not sure how many people actually ordered Dr. Voodoo in quantity to be able to get an incentive variant back in, I don't know, was this probably 2009, 2010, something like that. So it's it's not new by any stretch. And with news of Brother Voodoo being in Doctor Strange and maybe being the next Doctor, I thought I should just go ahead and get this. Next up, it's a Star Trek, I think this is Star Trek Ghosts, The Next Generation, #1. This is an incentive version variant. I loved Star Trek Next Generation, but I don't really collect the comics, but I know that sometimes some of these rarer variants do, if they're a good looking cover, they do go for good money, and I don't even see this on eBay at all. So, but it's got Picard and the Enterprise right there on the cover, so I just went and got it. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man number 646. This is the Mike Mayhew vampire variant. I actually think Mayhew is incredible. This one's a really good looking homage to Amazing Fantasy 15. I wasn't gonna leave this one behind. Next up is Carnage number 1. I believe this is Clayton Crane variant. Just pretty much a Carnage. I think I actually like Carnage better than I do Venom, but so these Carnage variants are not readily available. So I think you should, if you see them for cheap, you should pretty much just pick them up, because I think Carnage could continue to keep going up. All right, next up is a Cobra number 19. This is the Rock poster variant. The whole series, which I'm still trying to get a bunch of information on, of what the entire set is. But these Rock poster variants, which I've got a couple more coming up, they sell for good money. They're very hard to find, and they pretty much all sell for good money. So if you see these, they're not noted as that on the book, but they all came out in like late 2012 from IDW, and so if you see these, I would definitely pick them up because they are not easy to find. Next up, Danger Girl Revolver number 2. This is the J. Scott Campbell variant. Any Campbell variant that I can find for cheap, it's an incentive. Especially from this long ago, I'm going to buy it. Again, one you don't see very often. So, next up, we're only about halfway through, folks, so I'm sorry if it's taking a long time, but like I said, this was kind of epic. Deadpool number 28, again, the Mayhew vampire variant. It's just a really good series. Mayhew's supremely underrated. And even though he does have a good following, but this one's a really cool looking one. All right, next up, this is Ghost Rider number 1. This is the Lozzie variant. I think this is a 1 in 25. It was the same series that the Neil Adams variant came from, and the Neil Adams you just don't see ever. This one's, you really don't see that often either. So anyways, Ghost Rider variants generally look pretty sweet, so I went ahead and got that one as well. Next up, Invincible number 111. Is that focus? Sorry about that. Invincible 111, this is the blank. The blanks of these it's a good book. I'm not sure exactly why. You don't see them that often. But it's a good book. I don't know if it used to be a $25 book, so I'm not sure if it still is, but again, you don't see them very often, so I went ahead and picked that up as well. Next up, Thor God of Thunder number 2. This was the 1 in I think 50, maybe 25. I can't remember exactly, but this got hot last year because of the sword and all that weird stuff, and this was a hard to find variant at the time. It's probably come down, I'm sure, but still a sweet looking cover, so went ahead and got that. Next up, Transformers number 12. This is the Rock poster variant as well. This is a Beatles tribute. Again, this whole series is very much sought after, so when I saw that, I was pretty happy. Next up, Fearless Defenders number 1. This is the Manara 1 in 50 variant. Fearless Defenders was not a very heavily ordered series. There's Manara fans. To be honest, I'm not really a Manara fan. This is probably one of his better looking ones in my opinion, but Again, this one you don't see that often, so I was not going to let it just stay there. Next up, Savage She-Hulks number 3, the J. Scott Campbell variant. Several years ago, these on CBSI got recognized. People were looking for Campbell hard to find variants. This one showed up and the value, spiked a bunch. It still is, I think, probably a $90 to $100 book. This is the first one of them that I've ever found, so I picked it up. Next up, G.I. Joe number 18. This is the Snake Eyes variant. Again, this is another one that's really difficult to find, and this one is probably worth well over $100. And to be honest, I wasn't 100% sure when I saw it. I was like, I think that's one of them, but it was so inexpensive that I went ahead and bought it, and then I checked it when I got home, and was happy to find that it was that expensive. So next up, Legends of the Dark Knight number 1. This is the Stephen Platt variant, 1 in 25. There's not a whole lot of Platt variants, and this one's pretty cool because it's got Joker on it, and I've had one of these before. I thought it was a 9.8. I think I graded it. It came back a 9.6. So I'm not 100% sure what I'll do with this one. I probably just will keep this one for myself just because I sold the other one. Next up, Red She-Hulk number 58. This is the 1 in 20 variant. This might be Ed McGuinness. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, this was the 1 in 20. Very few people ordered these Red She-Hulks, so any of these variants from I think they started maybe in like 55 until the end of the run. They're all really hard to find, just because who was ordering multiple copies of Red She-Hulk at the time. Next up, Saga number 1. This is the hardest to find, other than the first. Or it's the hardest one to find, but it's probably the second most valuable one behind the first printing. This is the 4th printing. I've wanted this one for a while. The 4th printing, you just don't see it. You don't really see it for sale. You don't see it at stores. You don't see it anywhere. But I got lucky and I found a 5th print a few weeks ago, and now I found a 4th print. So next up, Spawn number 224. This is the black and white variant. Of all the run from the Spawns where there was black and whites in those 210 or whatever to 240 range, or 30 or whatever it was, most of them are 1 in 25s. This, I believe, was just a 1 in 10, but it's still an expensive book just because these Spawn black and whites are just not easy to find. Next up, Ultimate Comics number 1. Ultimate Comics All New Spider-Man number 1. This is the Pichelli 1 in 15 variant. Just very cool because it's got Miles on the cover, unmasked, and just pretty cool looking cover. Next up is Uncanny X-Men number 522. I think this was Mark Brooks variant, but this heated up a while ago. I remember there were some sales, well over $100 at the time. I think it's still probably a $100 book. First one of these I've found as well. Next up, not a variant, but still pretty cool. Spider-Man 606. Just a low print with, Black Cat, Mary Jane, and it's Campbell, so definite pickup. Next up, again, not a variant, but always very cool to have, is Spawn 221, homage to Amazing Fantasy 15. Just a really cool Cool McFarlane cover. And first one of these I've had. Next up, getting close, folks, getting close. Hang with me, the best are yet to come. Got Incredible Hulk, it's number 600. This is the Alex Ross Virgin variant, which is actually a Dynamic Forces variant, numbered out of $14.99. Was not aware that there was a Virgin variant of this. But anytime I see these Alex Ross Virgin variants that are numbered, I just want to go ahead and buy it. I did that with a Vampirella as well that ended up going to a friend as well. But alright, so very good looking Ross cover. This was like 10 years before Immortal Hulk even came out. So next up, X-23 number 2, the Mayhew Vampire variant. Again, Mayhew, awesome. X-23. I actually think her books are soft right now. This is probably the best time to buy them because she is going to come back, and I have a feeling that when she does, she will come with a vengeance. So it's probably the best time to be buying them right now. Next up, Snake Eyes Storm Shadow number 19, movie poster variant, Purple Rain tribute. A lot of people looking for this book. First one I've seen, very cool. I don't know what else to say. It's just very, very cool looking. Next up, Scarlet Spider number 1. This is the Venom variant. Just cool looking. All these Venom, a lot of these Venom variants are so cool looking, but don't see them for sale raw, just in a box anymore. Next up, Daredevil number 111. This is the Aja variant. So cool looking cover. Such a cool looking cover. All that negative white space. Oh, it's so awesome looking. First one of these I found, but that's really pretty looking variant. Three books left, folks. That's it. All new Ghost Rider number 1. This is the 1 in 25 variant. Very cool looking cover. Robbie Reyes first appearance. Again, you just don't. The 1 in 50 is extremely rare, and that's the really high dollar one. This one you don't see that often either, because there really just weren't that many people ordering 25 copies. So, still very cool. All right, last two. Incredible Hulks number 635, the Gronoff variant. First time I've ever seen this book in person. First time I've obviously ever found it at a store. In fairness, this one's not super high grade, but nothing to detract from the artwork on the cover. But super cool, very happy. And last but not least, Teen Titans number 75, Adam Hughes variant, Starfire. Even with her man hand, it's still just a really cool cover. I'm really surprised there aren't more Starfire covers out there that are utilized to sell books. But this is the second one I've ever found of this. The first one I was probably 5 years ago, and I didn't even I knew about the book, but I didn't even know how rare it was then, and I had to get information from Coy about it. I was out of state, and I was like, I think I should have bought this, and I did, because it was cover price then, and I was like, I can't remember if this is really good, and he was like, oh, you're an idiot, how do you not know? But I definitely know now, and again, second copy. But anyway, folks, that's this is the second major haul I've had in the past 2 months. The last haul was shown on FlipSide. This one I thought I should just do separately. Make sure you like, subscribe our channel, hit that bell to get notifications of any of these new type videos that we put up, and then that way you'll get all the newest information with what we got going on the flip side. Hopefully we'll have some new stuff specific to whatever everybody else is really good at and has a lot of knowledge on. So hopefully we get those up and running soon. But all right, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I will talk to you later.